absolutely. I've been high on Fitzgerald all year. I've been saying, if you guys
Let's
have been
talk about
watching the
it.
show, I've said Tyler Fitzgerald needs to be in the lineup somewhere. When Ahmed was playing shortstop, I was saying, get Fitzgerald in 1 to 2 days a week at shortstop, get him a day or two at second base, put him in left field, put him in center field. I don't care where you got to find a spot. The kid is an athlete, and I knew he had power. You saw it down in Sacramento. He was smacking the ball out of the park down there. You could see his body's build. He's, what is he, like 6'3"? He's got upper body strength. He's very athletic. He reminds me, you know what he reminds me of? A little bit of a bigger Trey Turner.
Okay, I can see that a little bit. I mean, he's one of those guys who adds a different element that the Giants don't have. He adds speed and he adds power. I mean, that combo is a great combo to have. I mean, he has 8 home runs now already in like 100 at bats. He's bringing it, and he's playing solid shortstop. You don't need to be playing elite shortstop. You just need to be average to above average. You don't need to make the obvious error. But I mean, he's a young player that you can now build around a little bit. And Dan, you were calling it all season long and earlier in the season. You want that Chris Taylor role because it's valuable. Being able to play multiple positions is very valuable because you can give other players rest and you can also allow other players to spot in. He can play all outfield positions. He can play shortstop, second base, and first base. I mean, that's 6 positions.
I do like him just at short, just because he is locked in.
I like him at short too, but if someone
prior to,
exactly.
Prior to, they didn't have a spot for him and they weren't playing him. Big Ben Bamboo says Melvin couldn't see it. I think he could. If we could see it, I think Melvin could see it. The problem is Farhan is making the lineup out. Farhan is controlling. He sent him down. Farhan sends him down. Farhan didn't want Ramos. Farhan is missed every almost talented person. I mean, he drafts Fitzgerald. His scouts draft him, and Farhan cannot see that he's got the ability to play. He makes a mistake. He gets picked off, and he's sent down. That's it. Luciano makes a couple of errors, gets sent down. How about when Chapman made like 10 errors in just over a month and a half or so and was like leading the league in errors at one point for third baseman? Does he get sent down? No. How about when guys that other veterans, how long do we have to watch Slater?
Don't even mention his name.
Do you think it's better for Fitzgerald long-term hitting ability if he plays at one position or if he goes around at other positions? And before you answer that, let me just kind of remind everybody, shortstop is a demanding physical position. You can play the outfield and maybe get 2 balls hit to you all day long. So your legs are a little preserved out there, as opposed to shortstop is usually the captain of the infield. A little bit more responsibility to make calls along the infield. So I don't know. I kind of like him in the Chris Taylor role. I could see left field still being a problem next year for the Giants, and I could see Fitzgerald starting a lot of games in left field. I mean, that speed shows up a little bit more in the outfield and helps you more than at shortstop. He's not a bad shortstop. I don't know if he's yet a dominant defensive shortstop. So I, for one, like him kind of going all over the place, but being in the lineup 5 or 6 days out of the week for sure.
I think at some point you have to figure out who your shortstop is.
Yeah.
And right now he's that guy. Right now you've found it. He's playing shortstop he's playing a good shortstop. He's hitting. So right now you don't change anything. If you want to look at shortstops in the offseason or find a shortstop in the free agent market, you can look at that and move Tyler Fitzgerald around. But I think you need to have that stability up the middle. Lee is going to be your center fielder next year. I think Wisely might be your second baseman next year. If Chapman's here next year, it might be Schmidt. You have Bailey as your catcher. I think that middle, up the middle stability up the middle is something that's important to have. I think right now Fitzgerald is good in that role. He's playing well, so there's no need to mess with it. But I don't know if he's a natural shortstop. I didn't watch him throughout the minor leagues. I don't know if he played shortstop as his main role, or if he moved around. But just having the ability to be able to move around is valuable because it shows that you're athletic and you have tools.
Yeah, that question is more for next year and beyond, not this year. This year, I agree with you. He's playing well. Leave him at one spot. He's still kind of young. He still needs to be mentally get into being what it is to be a professional ball player, week in, month in, out, year in and year out. So yeah, this is more of a after this year. Do you see him as more of a utility guy, or do you think he is the shortstop of the future? Be interesting because he's the type of player we've been begging for. He has speed. He's a gap hitter. He has a little power. Pitchers are going to make adjustments. Let's see if he falls into the Luis Matos thing where he gets really, really hot, might get player of the week, and then falls off a cliff. I don't think so, but let's see what happens with him.
If we're talking about the future, I can see it both ways. Like, I like him as a utility man. I think that has a lot of value to a team, but at the same time, I would like I said before, stability is good at the shortstop position. And if he can just focus on one position in the offseason and work defensively at shortstop, that'll make him a better defensive player. It'll take some stress off of him. He knows he's the shortstop.
I like that, and I also like the idea of having kind of a set infield. You remember the Giants of Sandoval? Sandoval, and Crawford, and whether it was Panic and Belt. The Dodgers, it was Garvey, Lopes, Russell, Say for years. You get that continuity of an infield. It's kind of funny. It's almost like, even though they are not the chemistry, it's not like basketball with, but there is that chemistry
defensively.
Especially on the double plays.
Right. No, definitely. And since the Giants are kind of an unknown, I mean, they've had Luciano at short, they've had Wisely at short, they've had Ahmed at short. Now they have Fitzgerald. I mean, am I missing somebody?
Estrada.
Casey Schmidt's been at short. Estrada's been at short. They've had 6 shortstops this year, so I get it. Like, he's playing well. He's doing good enough defensively. But I tell you, it's tantalizing. It is tantalizing to think of Fitzgerald in left, Lee in center, and Ramos in right with that speed. Those are 3 very, very good defensive outfits.
Well, what do you think of this? What happens instead of trading a Logan Webb type for 3 guys? Joe Shasky presented, go out and get Jackson Holiday or whatever, and get the established shortstop for the next 10 plus years, and have that guy, that kingpin, and then maybe you can move Fitzgerald to second. He could play second, and then Schmidt at third, or you can. I would be fine with, even if you had Fitzgerald at first. He's tall. How tall is Fitzgerald?
He seems tall. Let's look it up.
Because I know
he's like 6'1", 6'2".
I know
6'3".
6'3". Put him at first base and make Luciano your DH.
See, the thing with that, though, is I think
he's so athletic for
exactly. If you put him at first base, you're wasting some of his athletic talent.
Yeah.
I mean, first base isn't an athletic demanding position.
Who would you guys want out of Jackson Holiday and Kobe Maya? I want Maya. I want a first baseman, damn it, that can hit 20 to 30 bombs.
They could go get Mayo. Go get him, man.
I want Mayo.
I think you can go get him. He could be had right now. He's blocked. Well, he's not really blocked. I mean, but Basalo's blocked. The catcher, the young stud catcher, he's blocked. I mean,
Yeah, because Jackson Holiday, he had a pretty good look. It's not like the Giants where he had an 0 for 8 or 0 for 1 for 10 and he got sent down. He had a long look and he did not look really well. Not to say that he won't, but I think the Giants have guys like that. We don't know. I mean, it's sad to say, but what if Wisely's better than Holiday? I know in draft status and on data status that Holiday's supposed to be the better player, but what if Wisely is when it's all said and done? And we have him right here. What we don't have is a power hitting first baseman, middle of the order guy.
Correct.
That can drive him nuts.
I've seen a lot of Brett Wisely's, okay, in watching baseball. I like Brett Wisely. I don't think Brett Wisely is going to be a star.
No,
he can be
He doesn't need to be.
He could be your kind of
like a 7th, 8th place hitter.
Yeah. Or he could be the guy that platoons, and he could be that pinch hitter that comes up in the 8th inning.
I made the comparison that he reminds me of Donovan of St. Louis.
He plays good defense. He's a good defender, and that's valuable. That's valuable to have. I mean, your whole team isn't going to be filled with all-stars. There's going to be a few players that aren't the all-star caliber player that are just fill-ins. You can't have a whole team of all-stars like the Braves have pretty much every year. It doesn't happen.
Lee Fitzgerald, Ramos.
What would you do with Matos?
Sounds real nice. I would give Matos out of spring training every opportunity to win the left field everyday job. And if he wins it in spring training, he wins it. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. But I would give him every opportunity to get consistent at bats and see what he can do. And that's just how it's always been. You earn that job or you don't earn it. Because somebody that might be a 24th round, Mike Piazza was like a 33rd round guy. He was just a throw-in because he was Italian, and Tommy Lasorda, I think, knew his dad and said, let's draft this guy. And he turned out to be a Hall of Fame catcher. You just never know. Baseball is that one sport where you just a 30-round draft pick. I know they don't go that far anymore, but somebody that comes out of nowhere can outplay a first-rounder. It happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens
all the time. So Matos has the skills, but he has to earn it. He has to do it. I think mentally he's messed up. I've said that many times. I think
they screwed with his mind. What are they doing?
Yo with him up and down, up and down. I think if he goes to another team, I think he'll be a really good player.
Hey, look,
I don't
Matos.
know if he's a big player here.
I think he's a special guy because you know what? He's got really good bat to ball skills. He really does. You watch him get in there. He doesn't back off of anything. He's crowding that plate. He is, and he loves to get in there in the big moment.